Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the anonymous creator of Zelda RPG, Link's Reawakening. This is a fan-made passion project. I made this game all by myself. It took me more than 20 years to do it. There was no crew involved, just one person who really loved this game a lot. Now, normally I don't do commentary. I don't really like commentary videos on YouTube, and there's just too many people that are awkward. They laugh at their own jokes, and so I don't normally like commentary, but for you guys I'll do it. So let me explain what's going on here. I was a huge fan of Zelda Link's Awakening. I loved it so much as a kid that I couldn't let it end. And I searched the whole game, but this was like before we had the internet to find out, every little detail of the game. So I, on my own, with that green screen Game Boy, searched every inch of this game, just trying to find more, just didn't want the game to end, wanted to find more secrets. I mean, I even fantasized about there being a secret world when you beat the game that's hidden in there somewhere, because there were so many secrets in this game. I loved it. Anytime I replayed the game and found like a new piece of heart that I couldn't find before, I was just super excited. There weren't many games like this when I was young, so this was just an amazing game for me. So when it was over, I started on a sequel, but I didn't even have a program to make a game. I just hoped one day I could figure out how to do it, and I would go on Paintbrush and start drawing characters and stuff, and here we are. It's been more than 20 years. It was sometime in the late 90s when I started on it, but my original project got destroyed, and maybe about 10 or 15 years ago I started all over again from scratch. So here's the completed project. I hope you appreciate the incredible amount of work I put into this game. So let's get started. So first you wake up in a dream, and it takes place directly after the ending of Link's Awakening. So Link's Awakening, the ending, Link wakes up, or he wakes a windfish and he's back out on sea floating home. So this is the dream he has when he's home. So he's starting to have memories of Kahala Island. So all these little boxes are him having memories of what just happened. So there's wake up in Marin and Terran's house, hearing Ballad of the Windfish for the first time, the moments he shares with Marin. And he's just reflecting on the memories of Kahala Island. And then here's the important part. When you beat the game without continuing the original Link's Awakening, you see Marin turns into a seagull and flies away. And that's where this game takes place. Okay, so you come across another bed, and you wake up in your house. So Link's reflecting about Kahala Island, how real it felt. And all of us have had dreams that felt really real. Some of them good, some bad, but this is supposed to be like a reflection of the good ones. He had a dream, it felt so real, he can't believe all his friends are gone now. But he still hears Ballad of the Windfish. And so he decides to go investigate it. Because now he's in the real world, but he still hears a song, which was supposed to be just a dream. So anyways, if you go follow the sound of the music, like if you go off course, you'll notice the music changes. If you read the dialogue, Link acknowledges that he can't hear the music anymore, so he's got to go back on track and follow the music. So that's what this part is. And then he comes across a like. And like I said, when I first started making this game, I had no idea how I was going to make it. I would just jump on Paintbrush and just draw the characters. One day I came across this RPG Maker program, and that's what I started to use. So I had no choice but to put the game in turn-based RPG format, which I think, looking back now, that's a really awesome idea because we don't have anything like this for any Zelda games. So this is actually kind of revolutionary for Zelda. And because I'm a big fan of nostalgia, there's a lot, I put a lot of nostalgia in this game, and a lot of dream references in this game too. And also, if you'll excuse me for a second, my cuckoo clock is going off in the background, which I should have disabled before I started this, but it's too late now. So here we are on the beach. You find more monsters, and also the same thing, if you go off track, you don't hear the music anymore, so you gotta keep following the music. And then the attacks I gave Link, he starts off with some of them that, some of the items that he got from Kahala Island, like the Pegasus boots, the dash attack, and it also damages you too. You have the Rock's Feather, and so in turn-based RPG, I use the Rock's Feather as a jump attack, which is very common in other RPG games. So that's how I put that in here. Secret seashells I put in the game. Like the Piece of Power and the Guardian Acorn, the Secret Seashell, I made it like those items. It raises your speed instead of your power and defense. So Link's investigating the sound of the music, and there's monsters here, and he doesn't understand why. He's back at home in Hyrule. He should be peaceful. So something's going on, and he's trying to figure it out right now. And because this is turn-based RPG, there might be some people who this is new to. It's new for Zelda game. So the beginning monsters are kind of like a tutorial. That's why they do really weak attacks, and that's why they're super easy to beat. So then we come across our first actual enemy here. So in order to proceed, you have to face the Master Stalfos. And I use the nostalgic mid-boss music. The boomerang I used as a steal item. So I stole a potion from him right now with the boomerang. And it's just neat to see the translation of how the attacks from other Zelda games, how they translate into RPG format. I thought it was really cool. And this game also has a very heavy influence from Zelda: A Link to the Past. And you got a little bit of the Oracle games in here, and just a tiny bit of the Minish Cap, but it's mostly from Link's Awakening. Like 90% of this game is based off of Link's Awakening. But you'll see when we come across things. So here at the beach, and then you see Marin on the beach singing. So what the heck? So you thought she was just a dream character, but she's here in the real world, which explains that ending where she turns into a seagull and flies away. So here she is explaining that what that was is she made a wish to the windfish when he woke up that she could be a seagull and fly off her island and fly into Link's world. And that's what she's explained. That's why she's here. And in typical Marin fashion, she follows you. So first, you don't really understand the plot. I forgot what the term was for it, but it's where the plot is gradually revealed. It's just not bam all at once. Explain what's going on. So now Marin's following you, and you could explore the town a little. And you'll notice all all the houses in town are empty. There's no people here. So it's like a ghost town. All the houses are empty. Where are the people? Okay, so here's the church. The church has a little room here where brides are getting ready for their weddings. This one is saying she has too many accessories. Come back later and she'll give you something. And you'll see I used the bow that you give to the little Bow Wow for the dog food, the mermaid's necklace, and the power bracelet right there. And when you talk to characters in this game, they also hint at the trade sequence. Any character that's involved in the trade sequence will be in capital letters. Like this one says she needs a music box for her wedding. And in this game I put 2 trade sequences in it. Okay, so you go to the church, you see the priest. He tells you he had a vision last night, which is symbolic of what's going on right now. He said there were lots of seagulls flying on their way over here. They were flying out of a dream and into our reality, but they were being followed by a bunch of nightmares. What does it all mean? And I will explain that in a moment. We also have the telephone booths that call Old Man Old Rira, but when you talk on the phone, there's no one there. So again, the town is kind of like a ghost town. Okay, so here's something very important where the game centers around. The Dream Shrine. There's a Dream Shrine here in Hyrule. And that kind of reveals what's going on. So we do have the shop here. I use a lot of magic. In fact, when I made this game, originally I made it very difficult. I personally love difficult games. When I was a kid, I remember whenever you rented a game, there was no guarantee that you're gonna beat it. You had to play it multiple times to get to the ending. And even then you weren't guaranteed to beat it. So I really loved that when I was a kid. It just made games more special. And so originally I made this game super difficult. But I realized, it's got, 8-bit graphics because it took over 20 years to make. It's not released by Nintendo. So in order to keep people from, turning the game off without getting into it, I had to make the game easier. And then this is the library, which explains how to play the game. If you're new to turn-based RPGs, just explains how it works. So we get ready to continue, and you have a warning sign that monsters are appearing, and it's just basically saying, go to the shop and get items. This is where the true fight begins. Okay, so you begin your journey, and you see the owl. With that famous nostalgic music. And the owl is explaining to you that the people of Kahala Island, they all wished that they could turn into seagulls and fly off Kahala Island and fly into your world. And he's explained that that was also his wish too, and it was Marin's wish. So he's asking Marin to help you, since she's already here following you, to help you fight. Because the nightmares have also followed you. They also had their own wish to the Windfish, and their wish was also to follow you to Hyrule. So now your mission is to destroy the the nightmares that have followed you into Hyrule. They've disrupted your peaceful world, so you got to get rid of them. And again, I love nostalgia, so here's The first enemy is the... what's the name? The Rolling Bones. And then I started this game before Zelda 64 ever came out, and I chose the slingshot from Aaron. That was before I even knew that there was gonna be slingshots in the other games that came out later. It's just weird because like I had this like connection with this game, and like even the makers do things that I was thinking of putting into the game, so it was really cool. And another thing about video games, I like video games to be fun. I do not like grinding, or you know, like having to level up or having to work hard in games to, you know, to make your character better or stronger. It's really frustrating to me. It feels like work when you have to grind and level up. So in this game, there's no leveling up. You find new items that can make you stronger, but there's no grinding. There's no fighting a million enemies over and over again to level up. And so because of that, you could play the enemies, you can play against them as many times as you want. Because I just wanted it to be fun. And the battles are also optional, because I remember in old RPG games, it took forever to go from town to town because of all the random enemy encounters. So I made the battles optional. And in classic RPG format, enemies have weaknesses, like the dongle snakes are weak against bombs, just like in Link's Awakening. So I took all those elements from the old Zelda games, and I translated them into RPG format, which worked out really well. I also put a lot of little secrets in the game. Like, okay, so originally the owl just told you to head south, and then you have a choice. You could head west or south here. And so the owl told you to go south, but if you choose to go west instead, well, you can't pass through, but you could get a little head start and get the fire rod. And teach it to Link. Link can now use the fire rod. I put little hidden things like that in the game that can give you an advantage. The boss on the first world is weak against fire. So if you struggle against him, and you play the game again, and if you figure out to get the fire rod first, then he's easier. So just like the other Zelda games, I like having little secrets like that. So again, we're still no one in any of these houses. Here's a character from A Link to the Past, the guy who sells jars. And in this game, he's selling a jar. Okay, so here's a new character I made to start the trade sequence. She's Molly the Dolly Collector. And you see the Yoshi dolls there, so you kind of think of back to Link's Awakening of the Yoshi doll. But she has here a Pikachu doll, which I thought was genius to put in this game, because everyone liked all the little Mario references, like the Goombas and Kirby and the Yoshi doll, so I put a Pikachu doll in there. Okay, so this is the only part in the game where you have a yes/no choice. So the owl is telling you if you pull this plug and go down this drain, you'll find out where the enemies are hiding. But the owl has always kind of been a mysterious character. Even in the old booklet for the original Link's Awakening, it questions if he's a friend or a foe, if you ever taken a look through the original booklet for the Game Boy game. So here he's asking if you trust him. Again, with that mysterious nature, you don't know yes or no. If you pull the plug, there's a drain, and he was right. It takes you down below. You don't die from going down the water. And then like the old Zelda games, or Link's Awakening rather, when Marin's following you, she won't follow you into dungeons. And so here again, you're about to enter a dungeon, or in this game I use the term maze. She stops you and say, I'm not going in there, but this is the sequel, so we're training Marin to be a stronger character, so Link talks her into it. Okay, so we're in the first maze. It's called the Underground Forest. Instead of small keys, the keys are all different colors. And for this RPG maker that I used to make this game, that's just how I had to do it. Which, to be honest, I kind of like better. Okay, so you get the blue key and it opens the blue lock. And again, if you got the fire rod... Oh, I'm out of magic. Okay. These characters are all weak against the fire rod. So that's the advantage of getting it first. If not, you have a harder time. But I made the game easy, so... I shouldn't say it makes it hard. It makes it less easy. Which I was completely against. I wanted this game to be really hard. Okay, hold on. So there you unlock the purple lock with the purple key. Yellow key. See a treasure chest there. It's kind of a hint, because by the time you get there, you might forget about it. I use a lot of little mind games when I made this. So if you'll see, the fire rod does a lot of damage. So don't forget the treasure chest you saw earlier. And again, it's really easy to forget, and that's why I did that. It's just a reward for remembering what you saw. Okay, so I use these brown doors to lock bosses. That's just what I chose. the magic jars refill your magic. So we'll take a look here. See, that went by kind of fast, but and it's the same sound effect from the original Link to the Past. Okay, so you get Marin's first attack, well, learned attack. She uses the 3 songs you have in the original Link's Awakening. She uses those for her primary attacks. Okay, so the first attack she learns, I called it Poisonous Bubbles. Originally, I was gonna do Poisonous Mushroom, but if you see later in the game, you'll see why it can't work. And the only really reason why I used bubbles was just because I had a dream, and there were bubbles floating around in it. So I kind of took that dream and put it into the game here about dreams. And I do like to hide a lot of secrets in games. Here's one really early in the game. You see an altar. It says some kind of visitor came to bring light to this forest. And if you remember that, when you play the game later, you could unlock that mystery. But for now, I put it really early in the game, so it's really forgettable. So the first mid-boss. It's Moldorum from the first dungeon boss. And like the original Moldorum, when you do enough damage, he gets faster. So here he is, red, because he's angry, and attacking much faster. And he has his original scream when he dies. So we got the red key. Red lock. Got the, I called it boss's key in this game. The nightmare key is what they were called before. And I put these fairies here they're save fairies. I kind of flooded the game with them, which is something I really didn't want to do, but like I said, I had to make this game easier so people don't lose interest in it who give it a try. So there's a lot of save points. So we come across the first boss. You should have seen when I first made this boss. I made him so freaking powerful and difficult. Had to really tone them down. Too easy. Maybe one day if Nintendo likes my game, maybe they'll make a remake of it with good graphics. And then we can make it extra hard. So again, grabbing the fire rod gives you a huge advantage. This boss, he poisons you, he uses healing, he's got the crows to assist. And then he also has stronger attacks when his health gets low. I really had him beefed up originally. And after every boss, you get a piece of heart, which raises your maximum health points in battle for one battle only. So now you got the green Yoshi doll. It says, do you feel a trade coming on? Because this is where trade sequence begins. You get the Dream Shrine key. And after every boss battle, Link and Marin have a conversation about what just happened. Marin, for the first time fighting a boss in a dungeon, is not liking it. But Link encourages her. And you'll see some character growth as the game goes on. And that's the first dungeon. First dungeon, first maze, first level. First level of Zelda RPG, Link's Reawakening.